Welcome back to the Midnight Who Show for the final Halloween show. And then I'm going to start it off with a review of episode 6 and 7 of the brand new Goosebumps TV show. The 6th episode is, of course, Night of the Living Dummy, and this one I was really excited for because I've always enjoyed a slappy adventure, and boy, does this one deliver. It's very creepy, and it also shows how evil Slappy can be. You get to see a lot more about how Harold ended up in the fire because of the parents, and we get to see the motives why. This episode starts with a story, of course, now in the last episode. Teenagers are with, of course, what they think is Mr. Brat, as he tells them the story about Harold's great-grandfather, who bought Slappy to kind of revitalize their career as a magician, and it worked! It was a success! But soon malevolent things started to occur when Slappy started to convince him to do things. And we get to see why Slappy wanted to be brought back to life and what he wanted the magician to do for him. And it's quite evil. So Harold's great-grandfather locks him away in his house to never be seen again until, unfortunately for him, he passes on and Harold's family inherits the house and soon brings Slappy back to life. This was a really great episode, and I really enjoyed how much we get to see how much Slappy changes a person. It's done really well in this episode, I think. And you also really feel bad for Harold as Slappy soon really starts messing with his mind, and we really get to see the effects of that. And it's really heartbreaking at times, because you also kind of now understand why the parents kind of snuck into Harold's house. It was not really to, pull a prank or anything. They just started to know how much his personality was changing ever since he got near that dummy. He even turned his parents into dummies. It's just so evil. Now, episode 7 was Give Yourself Goosebumps. And this is probably my least favorite episode so far, but I do think it was at least a very decent episode to show how that scrapbook can bring people in, and we get to see the real Mr. Brat, which I thought was really good. And we get to see that they've just been living in this kind of void world for all these weeks. And we get to see how he can kind of take back control of his body by bringing him pain. And I thought that was really good. And this episode was also really important because we get to see how two, at least, of the parents are finally believing what Nora is saying and that their kids are in danger. And it definitely ended on a really good cliffhanger that got me excited for next week's episode. Next review, we're going to be diving into more Treehouse of Horror comics. The first comic I'll be talking about is Nas, which parodies the movie Jaws. It finds the beach near Springfield under attack by a three-eyed fish monster. Chief Wiggum, Frink, and the sea captain team up to stop the creature. This is a really good comic story, and I think does a great job at capturing the feel of a shark attack movie. I enjoyed how they made the creature an even more mutated version of the fish creature seen in the television show. I think that is just a great reference. I think it's also a smart choice. This comic also has some great humor in it. One of my favorites is that the mayor is just offering like a $200 gift card to anyone who's willing to stop the creature. I don't know if that's really worth it. Maybe for some. It's Applebee's. It could be worth it for someone. The other part I laughed at a lot was with Chief Wiggum, who was not forcing the closure of the beach after the death of Edna by this creature. And that, to me, is like, Chief Wiggum, what are you doing? I also think this comic does a really good job at capturing the personality of all the different residents of the town. It definitely feels like you're just reading an episode script of the show, which makes it really enjoyable. And that's when the comics are the best, and I would definitely recommend this one. The next comic I'm going to be reviewing this evening is Retirement Castle of the Vampires. This finds the Simpsons bringing back home Grandpa, and they soon find something strange is happening with the fellow elderly residents. What's going on? Is it the nurse? This brand new one that Grandpa doesn't even recognize? All will be revealed in this comic. This was not one of my favorites of the Treehouse of Horror comics I've read so far, but I still think it had some really good moments in it. I enjoyed how it was a team-up between Bart and Grandpa as they're trying to solve what is going on with everyone. I did find it really hilarious how Grandpa already had the garlic around his neck, so that definitely helped him out. I did find it hilarious how Homer stopped the main vampire, Nurse Yuga, because they bit him and there was too much alcohol in his blood, and sunshine is now not the only way to stop a vampire. Homer may be a vampire now, but at least he has some blood donuts. For our final review of the evening, it will come from the Doctor Who Tales of Terror book. Now, I always knew this year that I wanted to talk about this book, but I didn't know which stories to talk about, so I just kind of started reading a little bit of them. And it came to my surprise when I actually started reading the first one, the Celestial Toymaker was involved. And I was like, that is perfect! Because, of course, the 60th anniversary specials will feature the Toymaker making their grand return, this time played by Neil Patrick Harris, which I think is a phenomenal choice. And I cannot wait to watch all of the specials. And I was like, okay, I know what story I'm going to talk about. And the first one is Murder in the Dark, that features the first Doctor. And then the Toymaker returns again in the story Trick or Treat, where the sixth Doctor is now involved. But Murder in the Dark, I really enjoyed how it finds the Doctor, Dodo, and Steven arriving at a Halloween mansion where there's a fancy dress party happening. And they soon find a lot of games being played by the mysterious host, which probably should be a little bit familiar. And this actually leads to Dodo and Steven being kind of separated and forced to play different types of games. And the Doctor is forced to play a murder mystery game, which he does figure out that the Toymaker is the one who's pulling all of the strings around them. And I really enjoyed how it progressed, and I love all the little games that the Toymaker forces them to play. I really find it really fascinating to have the Toymaker force the Doctor to pick the murderer between his two companions. I really enjoyed how this kind of makes the companions try to take both the blame to save the other one. Luckily, the Doctor is smart enough to know that he can distract the Toymaker by playing a different game, and this kind of can confuse him enough what's going on for them to slip away and get out of there. But the Toymaker comes back to play in the sixth story in this book, Trick or Treat. And it starts with the Doctor in the time vortex, and he soon hears trick-or-treaters are at the TARDIS door. Boy, are these trick-or-treaters definitely wants to play some tricks on the Doctor, and they can get kind of cruel at times, but I really like the kind of twist and reveal when it's kind of that hints that these are previous incarnations of the Doctor. I thought that was really clever, and it soon finds the Doctor traveling to a very similar mansion, and he finds the Toymaker, who tries to make the Doctor think that all of his adventures were simply a game that the Toymaker did. He never left the house in the first place. First Doctor, Steven, and Dodo never left, and they've been the puppets of the Toymaker all of this time. And I love all the little references to previous Doctor Who stories. It is so clever. And this is such an interesting idea to me, because it's just a great one to think that the Toymaker could be the one puppeting all of these adventures in the Doctor Who universe. And really, the Doctor was just in a game all along. But of course, the Doctor knows this is a trick, and he of course escapes from the Toymaker again. But this is not the last time the Doctor will face the Toymaker, now is it? Well, that concludes the final Halloween show. But before we leave you tonight, I am joined by a special guest, who actually made their very first on-camera appearance on this channel in the very first Halloween show all the way back in 2015. Time sure flies. But tonight, we are going to be trying, of course, a soda. Because isn't that a tradition thing that we do?
Yes.
Usually during, September. But this is a fall one, and I think it's just perfect. And this is caramel apple cream soda. See, it's not a bad one. It's a lot better than the ones we tried last month. There you go. Let's try it.
Oh, I'm actually supposed to try it. Okay.
It's not a bad one compared to the other ones we tried. It's not bad.
Tastes very strongly of apple. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you guys for watching this Halloween show. Thank you, Patrick, for making a little appearance at the end.
I can't get out of shot.
No, you're kind of trapped in that one.
There's a box in the way.
And what did you guys think of those 2 episodes of the new Goosebumps TV show, those Treehouse of Horror comics, or any of those stories that are in that Tales of Terror Doctor Who book? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next week for all new reviews, including the brand new Spider-Man game that recently released on the PlayStation 5. Can't wait to talk about that game. It is amazing. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys then. Bye, everyone.